Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Wanted to come to you today with a weekly reads. Wanted to talk about what I've gotten finished this week and what I've been working on. I've got several books going at one time, and I started a buddy read earlier this week, and so I just wanted to talk to you about those books. I hadn't been very regular on my videos and kind of filling you in on what's getting read. And so I thought maybe it was time to really get that going again. And so here we are. I don't know about the rest of you, but I am stuck at home. I should be at school teaching, but we're doing things virtual today because we got a little bit of snow. Wasn't a ton of snow dumped on us, but it got really, really windy last night, and here in southwest Iowa, we tend to get some big snow drifts, and our particular school district encompasses a lot of country roads, and we get a lot of drifting, and then on top of that, our temperatures plummeted, and it literally it was bitterly cold outside. I went to let the dog out this morning, and I did not stay outside very long, and neither did she. It was just plain cold, and if you got kids waiting for a bus or having to walk to school in temperatures that are dipping down to -15, -20. That's cold. And so we usually call off school, and we've been trying to take advantage of all of our computer stuff. And so we had lessons all set up and ready to go yesterday or the day before. We've been kind of putting lessons together ahead of time just in case stuff like this happens, because we've had a cold spell that's come in, and hopefully if the weather holds out like it's supposed to warm back up next week, and supposed to be, I heard somebody said it's supposed to get right back up to 40 degrees, and so that should hopefully melt off a little bit of this stuff. I know that I'm looking out the window right now, looking at the snow, and it's drifted off the, when I go out, look out the window, I can see part of my roof line, and I can see the snow all drifted up just over the roof line. It's kind of interesting. It makes kind of cool shapes. But anyway, I'm not looking forward to later in the day, because I am going to have to force myself to go out and shovel this off the walk and shovel the driveway, because they had the blades going around town, the trucks, blading the snow, and so I am almost positive my driveway got buried again, so I'll have to go undo that if I want to get out with the car for any emergencies. We'll probably stay inside, but just in case of emergencies. But anyway, I guess this isn't a weather report, so let me move on. Talking about the books that I've been reading. Okay, so I just got a small stack here, and I started reading this one, last night I started to read this, and this is by Agatha Christie, Murder at Hazel. And starts off kind of interesting. They got, what do you call it? They were going, the group of people's going to like a seance, I think is what it's called, at the beginning of the book, the opening chapter or two. They're at the second chapter, they were at a seance, and somebody's going to get murdered according to the spirit that was talking to them. Now, again, I think that's probably going to prove to be false, obviously, with seances and stuff, but it'll be interesting to see who is predicting the murder and see how this one goes. I don't know much about this one. It says I'll read the back to you right fast. Captain Trevlin had been a pillar of the community, but now that pillar had come tumbling down. His life had seemed an open book, but the monstrously unnatural manner of his death revealed shockingly unsuspected chapters. What was the truth about the beautiful widow and her daughter who lived in the captain's manor house? Why did the captain's sister respond with such chilling indifference to his demise? Why did his nephew seem so willing to go to jail for a slaying he almost surely did not commit? Inspector Narracott of the local police had to find the answers, even though they might make a peaceful English town explode in scandal and shame. So I thought that one sounded interesting. It was one of the next ones in line for me to read. I've been trying to read all of Agatha Christie, and I was reading along with Peg and Martine over at the History Shelf, and that we have, or I have, I think they've still got another book to go, but I finished all the Marples, except for there's one short stories at the very end that I got to get done. But that's I've done all of the novels, and then I've done several of the Poirot books, and so I started looking at chronologically when they were published, and so I've been checking them off my list, and this was one of the next ones, at least of the ones that I had. There's one more in front of this that I just don't have, and I plan on getting it. I just don't have it yet. It's like is it The Mysterious Mr. Quinn or something like that? I got to get that one, but this would be the next one in line after that. So don't know. Like I said, haven't got very far into it. I'm only in chapter 3, and it's interesting so far. All right, so this morning I finished this book, The Long Emancipation, The Demise of Slavery in the United States by Ira Berlin. This is a ex-library copy, so please forgive the marked off barcode. But anyway, this was an absolutely excellent book. Berlin goes away from the traditional, story about how like Abraham Lincoln and a couple of white guys were the saviors of, the slaves and saved they did their part. He doesn't say that they didn't do anything, but he takes the argument of emancipation clear back to the Revolution, and maybe even slightly before the American Revolution. And he starts talking about, and he builds up a case for it was the African Americans themselves, the slaves, the freedmen, the former slaves, and the freedmen who actually did the bulk of the work for the emancipation process. And they did a lot of it themselves. They didn't rely on some, white guy to save them. And so he does that. He builds up a case for that, and it is excellent. He throws out a whole lot of names. I have a buddy reader that I read with a lot, and Patrice Jones, many of you know her. She's a great buddy reader, and she reads a lot of this kind of stuff. And I immediately took a picture and sent it to her. I said, you got to read this. It's got some excellent name dropping of a whole bunch of people I was not familiar with, and I know she likes to go exploring those different names and learn new stuff. And so, Patrice, if you're watching this, that is a big reason why I took that picture for you to read this book, because you're going to get a lot of new research out of this. And Berlin just does, I think he does a fabulous job with his case, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I wish, the one thing and I may have to just go reread it again. It's a short read. It's only like 175 pages of text, so it's a short read, but he does a great job. But you notice I only have 4 tabs in there. I didn't have my tabs sitting right beside me until pretty much the last chapter, and I wish I would have had my tabs, because there was a lot of things I should have been tabbing so I could add it into my classroom at school in the discussion over slavery. But anyway, BookTube, highly recommend that book, The Long Emancipation. It's short, sweet, to the point. He does an excellent job. So the next one that I've been reading, so many of you, or most of you, probably know David McAuliffe. He passed away recently in the last, was it a couple months back? Maybe it's been more than a couple of, it wasn't that long ago. Anyway, excellent biographer, one of the great modern day historians who writes on a level that everybody can understand, everybody can enjoy. It's a fast-paced story. And so I have been making it a point to go back and read all of McAuliffe's works. I have most of them, and they sit on my shelf. The problem is most of his books are like this. They're really, really thick, and they can be intimidating. That's why we put together here on BookTube that March of the Mammoths event, is to tackle books like this. But I have kind of made it a mission that I'm going to go back and I'm going to read through these, the ones that I haven't read already. And so I picked up Brave Companions, and it's Portraits in History. And what David McAuliffe does in this book is he goes back, and let me give you a year. This one was published in 1992, but the stories that he uses in here they're like magazine clippings and just articles that he wrote up, and most of it's like based on research he was doing for other books he was writing at the time. But it's a list of, I mean, you could just call it short stories, but it's not fiction, it's nonfiction, but it's got, hang on a minute, chapter 16, no, 17. It's got 17 stories in it, and they're all 10 to 15 pages for the most part. It's a pretty short book, especially for McCullough standards, but I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I just listened or read the story on the Panama Canal, which he did for his book The Path Between the Seas, and then I read through, right before that was one on Frederick Remington, and it was talking about the life of the painter, and I mean, just fascinating stuff, and he's just got such a wonderful style of writing, very fast-paced, like I said, pretty short work for McCullough standards, and so highly recommend that. I'm getting ready to start chapter 7, so I'm getting there, about halfway through, I think one more chapter and I'm halfway through the book. So highly recommend that. That's been good. On Monday, I started a buddy read with Patrice Jones. If you remember from last year, we read the biography on John Adams by David McCullough, and it was just phenomenal. And we were talking in our Voxer chats, and we were talking about how we've got these other McCullough books that we just haven't tackled because the sheer size of them. And so we said, hey, we both have Truman. Let's go read Truman. Let's do that as a buddy read. And so we started this on Monday, and we have got the first couple chapters. Today we were supposed to start chapter 3. I didn't start it because I was finishing the Long Emancipation, but I will maybe get this started today. If I don't, I'll hammer out the whole chapter tomorrow morning. And the chapters are like 25 to 30 pages ish. Chapter 3 is a 30 something, I can't remember, 30 something pages, so it's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit slower read, but excellent stuff. I feel the biography on John Adams, the narrative went a little bit faster, but these first couple chapters, it's just been talking about, first chapter was talking about where Truman's family comes and their move to Missouri, and then the second chapter was about Truman's boyhood, his own boyhood, and how what he experienced growing up and living in Independence, Missouri. And it's really good stuff. Talking about, he wasn't necessarily an athletic young man like a lot of them were. He was more brainy than the rest. He read a lot of history, pretty good at the piano. He's got some talents that other boys don't typically have at that time period. And just thoroughly enjoying this. I'm looking forward to digging into this either later today or in the morning. Chapter 3, entitled The Way of the Farmer. But Patrice and I have been really enjoying this, and glad that we picked this up. This is a good one. All right, so those are some that I've been reading, fairly regularly this week. Been dipping in and out of those. A couple of them that I tried to start, and I could get no traction. I felt like a truck out in the snow with my tires spinning. I picked up Sue Grafton, A is for Alibi, because, pretty famous series, the Alphabet series. And I've seen lots of other people read it. Was this the first chapter? I didn't get very far. I'm at the very end of the first chapter. And I'm not set on her writing style yet. But then again, I'm gonna keep giving it a chance, though, just because I was reading it late at night, and sometimes books don't grab me when I'm reading late at night just because I'm tired. So I'm going to give this one a little bit more of a chance. But at this point, it hasn't gripped me. But again, I'm only 6 pages in, so it's not very far. Got to give it a chance. The other one that I was reading in the evening time or at night that definitely the writing style just has not grabbed me is Elon Musk, biography on Elon Musk, and it's by Ashley Vance. and just the writing style hasn't grabbed me. This was a present to my father-in-law a couple years ago because he finds Musk very interesting. Where he lives down in Texas, he's pretty close to where SpaceX is, and so he's kind of found that stuff pretty fascinating. So we got him the biography, and he gave it back to us to read. And so I picked it up. I had it on my nightstand, and I've read. I'm not very far in this one either. 14 pages, but the biographer's style is just not grabbing me, so I'm struggling with this one. This one I may end up putting down and just trying to come back later. I don't know. Put it on the nightstand. Maybe I'll get a wild hair and be able to really get into that. So, and then so the last part of this weekly reads is the vote that I put up last week. I asked you for Historathon 2024, so I gave it about a week, and I asked you guys in the comment section to vote on which book did you want me to start next. And Rubicon won pretty handily. If my tallies were correct, it was 14 votes to 5 votes. And so I'll end up reading this one, but it'll be later in the quarter. Sorry about my daughter. She's loud. She's running around and she's loud. Anyway, so Rubicon is I'm going to get started on this today, tomorrow, sometime in this next couple 3 days. I'll get this one going. I was going to try to start it last night, and I was just really tired. I was like, nope, I don't want to have a bad experience just because of me being tired. So BookTube, thank you for voting in the comments section, and I will get started on Rubicon, and I'll definitely let you know what I think of that book when I get done. And so that's what I've been reading this week. What have you been reading? Anything good? Anything, and it could be nonfiction, fiction. Just let me know. What are you reading? Let's go with the number one book that you're reading, the one that's the most interesting, the most entertaining for you. And maybe you do one of each when you tell me, but be interested to know what you're reading. So BookTube, I'm gonna shoot one more video here, so be looking forward to, and I'll kind of put it in a couple of days. But I have a book haul that I'm going to shoot. That I got some books from Princeton University Press in the mail, and I should have 2 more coming in the mail, but I'll have to look at the publication date. It might be later down the road when they're coming. But I had a couple of them sent to me 2 days ago, I think, maybe 3 days ago, and then I had one that was sent a couple weeks ago. And I didn't show you that one because I was waiting until these other ones got here. But anyway, I'll have a 3 book haul from Princeton University Press. So be looking for that, and look forward to talking to you again. So till next time, BookTube, happy reading.